What's up everyone? Welcome back. I've got a quick question for you to start. Which tripod should I buy? You ever asked yourself that? Well, if you have, you're not alone. As you can see here, there are so many different types and sizes, features, it can get overwhelming fast. So let's just slow down for a second and start with the basics. Why use a tripod in the first place? Well, simply put, a tripod keeps your camera steady. And that's crucial if you're shooting in low light, maybe doing long exposures, filming video, or maybe you're just trying to get sharper, more professional looking images. So remember, the purpose of any tripod is to keep your camera steady. Now let's go over the options to help you find the right tripod for your gear and style. Now most tripods are made up of three parts. We've got the legs, the center column called the neck, and the head, which is where you attach the camera. Now let's start with the legs. We've got two different types of locking mechanisms, so we're going to compare these. We have flip locks and twist locks. Now these flip locks are fast and easy. They're easy to see whether or not they're secure. They're great for beginners. Twist locks, on the other hand, these are a bit smoother. They're often preferred by the pros. They tend to be more durable and are less likely to snag on things, which can happen sometimes with the flip locks. Now, just a quick note on these twist locks here, you only need to give it a quarter turn in order to loosen it. If you keep turning over and over again, you run the risk of the legs falling apart and losing some essential pieces on the inside. Now, you usually have to choose between aluminum or carbon fiber legs. Carbon fiber, like both of these, they're lighter, making it better for traveling, and they absorb the vibration a little bit better. However, carbon fiber tends to cost a little bit more. Now, over here on my left, I got a tripod that's made of aluminum, which means it's a bit heavier, but definitely much more sturdy. Now, in general, aluminum tripods can be more affordable, and that's simply because aluminum is cheaper to manufacture. Now we have the center column. This is where that neck extends. Now, to extend that center column, we've got a couple different options. We can either unscrew this little wing nut and pull it up, or you can have a twist lock. You can untwist and pull the neck up. The center column can easily add some additional height to your tripod if needed. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the tripod head. We've got two different heads here. We've got a ball head and a pan and tilt head. So let's go over these differences. Ball heads are generally compact, they're fast, they're really great for still photography. All you have to do is loosen this little knob, move that ball with the camera on top, get your camera in position, and then tighten it back. Simple, you're done. Now with the pan and tilt head, this gives you a lot more precise control. They're great for video, or if you want to move one at a time on an axis. Now I can move up and down or left to right with these handles. And I can just turn the handles to hold them in place. Now, if you shoot a lot of video, you might also want to consider one of these fluid video heads, which is specifically designed for smoother motion. We have this long handle to guide us through it. Beautiful, beautiful tripod head. Now, on top of every tripod head is something called a quick release plate. This is a small little attachment that's locked onto your tripod. You simply unlock it by pulling this clasp, and your quick release plate pops off. Every quick release plate has a screw that can be threaded onto the bottom of the camera. So all you want to do is make sure the quick release plate is securely attached to the bottom of your camera. Now, there should be a visual indication on the bottom letting you know which direction to mount it. As we see here, there are some engraven arrows pointing you in the right direction. Now, then you just pop your camera onto the tripod and lock it securely in place. Now, quick story here. Once when I was in college, I was photographing on the street of New York City, and I was in a bit of a rush. I did not securely lock my camera onto the tripod. Unfortunately, my camera ended up falling off the tripod, smacking the ground on the sidewalk and busting. It was awful. I ended up having to pay about $700 to get my camera repaired. I do not want that to happen to you, so just make sure that when you place your quick release plate on the camera and then place it onto the tripod, that everything is securely locked into place and you won't have to worry about it at all. Okay, so we've gone over the basic parts of a tripod. Now let's look at 4 different types of tripods and when you might use each. Now we have full size, travel size, monopod, and gorilla pod or flexible tripod. Now, full-size tripods like this one here on my left, these are great for things like landscapes, studio work, or even shooting video. They're very stable and can adjust to some pretty good heights, as tall as 60 inches, which is pretty average for professional tripods. Now, these tripods tend to be a little bit bulkier, more heavy, not really great if you're gonna go on a hike or go traveling, but they are very sturdy, awesome tripods. I'm also using a full-size tripod right now that I'm shooting around on this camera. Next, we have travel tripods like these two. They fold down much smaller, they're lighter weight, they're perfect for hiking or for everyday travel. Just make sure that you check your camera's weight. For example, let's say you have your camera and lens that together weigh about 5.5 pounds. Then you have a small tripod like this. This tripod is only designed to support up to 5 pounds of weight. So let's imagine I mount this camera to this tripod. You can see it's not gonna support it. So make sure you check the load capacity of your tripod before mounting your camera so we don't have any accidents that fall over. Now then we have monopods. Now as the name suggests, these only have one leg. So it's lighter, faster, easier to set up. These are ideal for sports, wildlife, fast moving situations where full stability isn't needed, but you want at least some stability. Now, Art Lens Academy is geared towards art photography, so we won't really be using these much here. And last, we have gorilla pods or flexible tripods like these two bendable guys here. Now, these are great for vlogging, for countertop setups, or even just mounting your camera to some pretty creative or unique places. Again, we won't be using these much in this program, but I definitely recommend you have one. You can throw it in your bag, have it available to take with you on a hike. They're really great tripods. This one by Joby actually has a pretty good load capacity, very sturdy. So check these out. So at this point, you may be thinking to yourself, this is good and all, but how do I actually know which one to buy? Well, there are 3 questions to ask yourself. First, what do you shoot? Do you shoot landscapes, documentary, studio portraits? Because what you shoot will help determine the size of the tripod and the type of head that you need. Secondly, how much weight are you okay with carrying around? Literally, like, do you hike a lot, or are you creating photos on a remote location where you need to pack in all of your gear? Because if so, then a travel tripod or carbon fiber model that's lighter is probably what you're gonna want. And third, how heavy is your camera? Always check the camera's load capacity. Your tripod should hold at least 1.5 times the weight of your camera and lens combined. Now in art photography, you usually are using a slightly larger camera simply because you have a bigger sensor. So just keep that in mind. Now personally, I would recommend at least 2 tripods. One full size that's sturdier and that you can use in a studio setting, and one that's more of a travel size, lighter, maybe more compact. As for the brand, I generally recommend Manfrotto. I've got several Manfrotto tripods up here, but there's several great brands out there to choose from, like Joby or Peak Design or Gitzo. But in short, there's no best tripod, just the one that's best for you. So start with one that fits your needs and your budget, and then you can upgrade as you go. And just remember that tripods can seriously improve your image quality, especially in low light or when you need consistency. So whether you're going for a sturdy, more professional tripod or something a little more lightweight and portable, now you know what you need to look for in order to choose the right one. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next lesson.